The 2024 NBA draft is coming up on Wednesday and Thursday. It's the first time that the NBA is rolling with the two-night draft. So we're going to do some draft talk here on today's Warriors Today. But I want to start off with this question that is draft-related and draft-themed. Who is your favorite Warriors draft pick of all time? Use your memory. Let us know down in the comment section. And with that, let's break down some Warriors draft targets. This is Golden State Warriors Today by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. And on the rundown, updated draft targets before the start of the 2024 draft, just to look at some options for Golden State with the 52nd overall pick. And let's set the foundation. Let's set the table with this right here. What does Golden State need as far as the draft and free agency as you look ahead to the 2024-2025 season? Perimeter shooting for sure, a backup ball handler to help out Steph Curry. You at least got to ease his workload a little bit as he gets older. Off the bounce scoring would be awesome for the same reasons that I mentioned in aiding and helping out Steph. And then some rim protection. Love the growth that I saw from Trayce Jackson-Davis. But the Warriors continue to be the smallest team in the NBA, and it's really killed them on both ends of the floor, especially defensively with all of the great athletes that are playing now in today's NBA. And my thoughts on this draft, I think the Warriors have to take advantage of a draft where a lot of these second-round picks are not far off from those projected players to go round one. For instance, this is not a draft in which you have a LeBron James or a Victor Wembanyama or an Anthony Edwards when there is a clear-cut number one prospect. So in the middle of the first round, you can get a player easily at 15 who's as good, if not better, than a top 5 pick because there's just not a lot of star talent in this draft. And then at 52nd overall, I get it. It's the end of the draft, right? But you could still get a really solid player who some teams maybe had a first-round grade on. Trayce Jackson-Davis is a player who a lot of teams had a first-round grade on. The Warriors got him all the way at the end of the draft, and it's ended up being a great value pick and will continue to be that because I think that TJD is going to be a really good player in this league with what I saw in year one. So let's start off here with the big who can shoot the three. This helps your floor spacing, and it helps your rim protection a little bit. It's Branden Carlson, the center out of Utah. He's our number one target. This is a modern-day big who can stretch the floor, who can play make a little bit, has decent vision, can generate some turnovers on that end of the floor. He's older, but that means that he's ready to play and contribute right now. 25 years old, a senior, 7 feet, 220 pounds. So it's not like he's rail thin like a Chet Holmgren. He's got some decent size to him. Last year at Utah, played nearly 30 minutes per night, 17 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, a block and a half. So there's the shooting and the rim protection, 50% from the floor, and I will always take a 7-footer who can knock down nearly 40% of his three-point attempts. How he fits in with this Warriors team, I think the Dubs still need front court depth. Even if they keep Kevon Looney, and Carlson provides spacing where Looney and Trayce Jackson-Davis do not, but because of that spacing factor, you want to go big? You can have Looney and Carlson on the floor at the same time. You can have Trayce Jackson-Davis and Carlson on the floor at the same time because Carlson can kind of play a little big four. Should the Warriors draft him with pick number 52? Why for yes and for no? Let's hear from Dub Nation in the comment section. A late in the process riser is Jonathan Mbogo, a forward and center out of San Francisco. You want to keep a prospect local who you really like, who you've been able to keep your eyes attached to? That's him. You need ball handling depth on the wing spot. Wiggins, Kuminga, trade possibilities. This is a player who plays in that front court. I don't think you want to play him at small ball center. I think you want to play him more so at the wing, at the 4. He's got versatility, though, and how we categorize him as a big. He's just a big who can play multiple positions. He's 6'6 and a quarter, 217 pounds. Massive wingspan, though, allows him to thrive as a lob threat as well as a rebounder. He can guard multiple positions. He can go up against multiple positions. He's a great passer with a natural playmaking feel. I'm not going to say he's Draymond Green, right? Draymond's a lot thicker, but similar height. And then the playmaking passing feel is underrated. And I think he's got undersized or underrated ability. Some people think he's undersized, but with that physicality, with that athleticism, I think he makes up for it. I mean, look at the numbers. 14 points per game and 10 rebounds last year. A steal and a half per night. 3.5 assists for a guy who's playing in the front court is always good. And nearly 64% from the field. The Ringer's Kevin O'Connor on him. Ambidextrous finisher at the rim who scores on his attempts in the paint at a high rate. Skilled playmaker who tends to make the right play off the dribble. He can play with flair, and he's comfortable handling at a fast pace, pushing the tempo after defensive rebounds. Speaking of the 2024 NBA Draft, we will be live for it right here on Chat Sports, on the main Chat Sports YouTube channel. Our coverage gets underway on Wednesday, continues into Thursday. Two-night draft for the first time. Make sure you subscribe. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV or just search Chat Sports on YouTube. Draft target number 3, a member of the two-time national champion UConn Huskies. It's Cam Spencer, a guard. If you want three-point shooting and a guy who is a pretty solid athlete with some good bounce, this is your player. He can work well in Steve Kerr's movement offense. You'd have him and Brandon Podziemski, which offers you some playmaking and some shooting. And he's played big-time basketball, right? Playing at UConn, you are battle-tested. Playing under Dan Hurley, you learn under a great basketball mind. Another older prospect that's a big theme in this draft class, 24 years old. But again, with these rookies who enter the league at 23, 24, 25, can they be an impact player for me for 5-6 years? If that's the case, that's all that matters to me. He's 6'3", good size for a guard, 14 points per game last year, 44% from long range, 48% from the field, steal and a half per game. I think he's got really good defensive instincts. Here's what Kevin O'Connor had to say about him. Knocked out three-point shooter, but not just a spot-up guy considering his solid handling ability, which gives him the room to dribble into mid-range jumpers, floaters, and layups. Absolute baller who competes on every single defensive possession and chases rebounds out of his area. So he can shoot, he can ball handle, and he can play defense. At least he's a willing defender. We'll see how he holds up on the defensive end. Sounds like a player that Steve Kerr would really like. Let's next go to Antonio Reeves as we continue to stick with some guards here. Reeves, a player who declared for the draft out of Kentucky. And he is similar to Spencer, but he's a better creator. More quickness, more twitch. The handle, maybe a little bit more elusive. He's got the size advantage as far as height goes. 6'4.5", 23.5 years old, a senior out of Chicago, Illinois. He put up really, really good numbers for a Kentucky team that was bounced by Oakland by way of the state of Michigan in the NCAA tournament. That game was lit in Pittsburgh. 20 points per game, 4+ boards. Not really a guy who's going to make his teammates better and elevate their games with his distributing ability, but 51% from the floor, almost 45% from three-point range. A lot of people focused on that Kentucky team, and they just forgot about Antonio Reeves because Reed Shepherd was the lights-out three-point shooter, but how about 45% from long range there? Pick one to draft between these two shooters. CS for Cam Spencer. No, not Chase Sr. AR for Antonio Reeves. Let us know. Lastly, we go back to the front court to Harrison Ingram, forward, North Carolina. And this rounds out our list of Warriors draft targets here. He is a versatile defender and ball mover. The ball will not be stagnant with him on the floor. Possessions will not die with him on the floor. He makes that savvy, smart basketball play to just keep things moving in a frenetic way. This is a younger prospect as compared to the previous 4 players, under 22 years old. Love the size at 6'5.25", but this dude is built. He is 234 pounds at the wing spot. You want to try to set a charge on him? You're going to have to pay for it later by hitting the ice bath. Great post player, often took smaller guys to the block and overpowered them. What I like about his game, he's a physical defender with the physical tools to fit in a switch-heavy defense. What do the Warriors like to do? A lot of that. He is not the best playmaker for himself or others, but on this team, it's not like he needs to be. Now, Spencer was not that standstill three-point shooter. Harrison Ingram is more of that standstill three-point shooter. 12 points per game, a very active rebounder, willing to crash the glass, will get his hands in the way of passing lanes, a steal and a half, 43% from the deck, nearly 39% from three-point range. KOC on him, seasoned playmaker who plays like a veteran with fluidity, velocity, and accuracy in his passes. He stays patient, hits teammates where they want the ball, projects as a highly versatile defender, quick enough to comfortably switch against guards, and both long and sturdy enough to handle wings and forwards. I think the Warriors need to prioritize a player they legitimately think can be in their rotation right away, given their cap situation. Get a guy who can contribute. Get a guy as a rookie who can get some rotation minutes. We're not going crazy here, 10 to 15 minutes per night. What do you think Golden State will do at pick number 52? Draft coming up tomorrow on Wednesday. It carries into Thursday. Cannot wait for it. We'll obviously talk Warriors draft selections if they make any other moves. We have you covered here on Warriors Today.